All right. I'm Jason Sarrafian with Stream-Flo Industries, and you are watching the Stream-Flo of Consciousness podcast. We're coming to you live this week from the World Geothermal Congress 2026 in beautiful Calgary, Canada. And today we're very fortunate on this episode to have Mark Woitt, kind of a legend, and he is a guru that I have worked with a little bit here and there. And I'll just let him take the wheel and tell you a little bit about himself and how he got involved in geothermal and all that fun stuff.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Legend. That'll be a tough one to live up to.
You know,
but
I said it, so it's fact now. That's
Yeah.
just, we wrote it into the record, man.
Appreciate the compliment.
Yeah.
Mark Woitt. I've been a consultant. I started in oil and gas industry, in the service industry, primarily in the downhole tool business. Which evolved into a consulting role in the early 2000s, I guess it was. Been in that space since. I've had, in more general sense, I service generally smaller projects, short-term projects with probably over 70 clients, and then about 7 years ago transitioned into a more permanent role with one of my clients
Right.
in the US.
Okay.
So
So you've seen some things happen in the last handful of years. You've definitely seen technology shift, optimizations made, things like that. I mean, I know that you've been the driving spear behind a number of them. I know you've had a number of clients. How would you compare where the geothermal space is today to where it was 6-7 years ago?
Well, there's been significant advancements. I guess I was fortunate to be involved in the first enhanced geothermal project, in that there had been early work done in EGS, Fenton Hill as an example, back into the 70s. But the EGS at that point had not involved any hydraulic fracturing.
Correct.
So in line with conventional geothermal, the well designs were to manage high temperature flow. The EGS that I got involved with 7 years ago was of course high temperature, but also high pressure, because the intent was to utilize hydraulic stimulation, fracture stimulation, to connect wells within the subsurface. So yeah, I was, I guess, fortunate to be a part of a group that did those first experiments.
Yes.
I guess based on what we're seeing here, it was successful and has attracted a lot of other developers in the geothermal space. So I think that early work that we did, really confirmed the big question at that time was twofold. Can we drill granite?
Yep.
Can we drill granite at a speed that is commercially viable? And then can we hydraulically stimulate granite? And so those were the first two things that I was a part of a team that really proved that up. So I think,
And you got to yes.
yes, yeah, and we got to yes.
You got to yes.
We got to yes.
Exactly.
That's why there's 1,800 delegates here.
That's right. That's right.
So it was a fascinating experience. And now, as we all know, there's numerous operators, developers trying to get into the geothermal space. We have closed loop, we have open loop,
super hot, super deep.
Super deep.
Yeah, everybody's trying a new angle, right?
Drilling with laser beams.
Yeah, drilling. That's right. Thank you, Austin Powers. But yeah. But the cool thing is, I don't know about what your vibe has been so far from WGC this week, but the resounding sentiment we get from everybody is like the momentum and the collaboration, right? Almost like a tech startup, and that everybody's willing to support each other and share ideas. And, you've been walking the floor. I've been here doing podcasts, but you've been walking around and chatting with people, I presume.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what's your take from this show this week? And what do you see the near term for the space?
Well, the demand for clean energy, specifically
Hmm.
electricity, being driven by primarily data center development,
Yes.
primarily, not
Yeah.
the only one.
Sure.
Governments and just people in general want to have clean energy.
Yeah.
We need, there's no question, we need to stop burning hydrocarbons to produce electricity. And so you know, geothermal, I think, is an energy that can fill that space. I was, like I said, part of a team that proved that we can drill
Yep.
granitic rock at speeds which are
Granitic. You take that word home and use it, boys and
yeah
girls.
Precambrian
That's,
granitic
that's right.
granite.
That's right.
It's got a lot of names.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was one of the first. The first thing was, can we frack it?
Yeah.
And we proved that up at a project in northern Nevada, and then we had to disprove, if you will, some of the early conventional geothermal drilling practices, where that industry had been around for a long time, but they were of the belief that you could only drill granite with trichome bits,
Hmm.
and they got it done.
Yeah.
Not very fast, but
No.
for the number of wells that they were drilling, the speed at which they drilled was acceptable because of the amount of energy that they were going to recover. But to make that successful in terms of EGS, we had to get a lot better at drilling.
Right.
And so I guess the group that I was with, went down a different path than conventional geothermal and said, well, let's try a different type of bit.
Yeah.
And we'll use a bit more commonly used in oil and gas shale drilling, and see what happens. And turns out we reduced drilling time, by 60%.
Yeah.
And so those were the early steps that I think really brought the attention to the energy industry that geothermal is viable, whether that's open loop or closed loop.
Right.
I think that's what really opened the door to uh, allow other developers to realize that this can be commercially
There's a
viable.
there. Yeah.
There's something
Exactly.
there. There's
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and this whole all boats rise and all the different styles of geothermal that people are drilling now. But another repeated comment I've heard people say is like, it's allowing control, right? Geothermal also allows control, because when you start looking at where we are geopolitically right now, people having trouble getting energy delivered to them. But if it's under your feet, you're able to just, if you need to grow crops or have a school open or something like that, you don't have to wait for somebody to make sure that that gets to you. It's right here, so that's another interesting piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it we seem to want to relearn the geopolitical
Yeah.
challenges over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We've realized these challenges back in World War I,
Yeah.
and then it was again visualized in World War II, and here recently with
Just a sequel.
with the
Yeah.
Iranian conflict, and we seem we forget things quickly, but there's just events that occur that make people realize that you know food, energy, you need to have a domestic supply
Yes.
of these
Basics.
basics.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I'm from Alberta. I guess here in Alberta we've been blessed that we have agriculture right
Yes.
here. We have energy
Yep.
right here. But there's a lot of places in the world that
Yeah,
don't.
you guys have
and
a fortunate anomaly, I think, really.
we do.
Yeah.
Really we do. And even the diversity of resources that we have
Mhm.
here, oil, gas, our enhanced
Yep.
thermal operations. We've we've experimented in so many things. Alberta's just been an amazing district in which we've been able to prove up different energy extraction technologies, and I'm proud of that. We're very innovative and are fortunate to have a very entrepreneurial workforce here that is interested in developing different sources of energy.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's just so much opportunity. Obviously, geothermal kind of started in the very early days in Europe. The conventional geothermal industry is essentially limited to the Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
The volcanic regions of the world.
That's it.
And great for them. It's a great energy, but it's a very isolated resource. And so the development of EGS or AGS, open loop, closed loop, I think is going to bring a lot of energy sustainability to regions of the world which otherwise would not have opportunities to develop energy.
And laser beams. And
laser
cool.
beams.
It's very cool. But as you've gone around the show, conversations you've had, have you heard of any kind of interesting burgeoning stuff coming up?
Well,
that maybe you didn't expect? Interesting regions being drilled, or?
Well, yeah. Just a few moments ago, I attended a meeting with the Canadian Department of Defense, who to meet their NATO commitments of 2% spending of GDP, realizes that we have to build sovereignty in the Canadian Arctic.
Okay.
Which means we're going to have to build airports, we're going to have to build runways, we're going to have to build infrastructure in the very far north beyond what most people can even begin to comprehend.
Yeah, at the top.
Right now, even with the limited, at the very top, I'm
really
close to the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Right now we and the statistic that I heard, for example, at Resolute Bay, which most people don't know where that is, but it's very far north.
Yeah.
And they generate electricity through diesel fired generators.
Right.
For every liter or gallon of diesel that they burn to generate electricity, it takes 7 liters or gallons to get that gallon there.
Feels very efficient.
Right? So there's just, one example of where I think, geothermal can play a role in enforcing Canadian sovereignty.
Yeah.
Promoting development in the Arctic. We sit on a lot of critical minerals up there, but we don't have the people and the infrastructure there.
I would imagine
because there's no energy.
Yeah, there's nothing. The cart and the horse.
You can't expect people to live somewhere where there's no energy.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do they think that would be an AGS, GGS, EGS solution? What do they think would?
Well,
or have they gotten that far? They're like, this is just something we want to do.
Well, I don't think they've really got
we need
that
a Yoda
far.
to come in here and put this together.
A good point, because at this point it's primarily government.
Yeah.
And so, they're a little behind on what industry is actually doing.
I would imagine. Yeah.
They think that there's still so much experimenting to do in the space of geothermal, and I'm like, no, we've done the experiments. We know we're at a validation point, not an experimental.
No, we're making tweaks and iterations to operations, but I think largely it's foot on the gas, no pun intended.
No, exactly, because whether it was the government officials I was speaking with earlier, or just even kind of a general sense around the World Geothermal Congress here, is people think that there's still so much technology that needs to be developed to develop geothermal.
Yeah.
And that's so not true.
They haven't been paying attention.
They have not been paying attention. Now, we got to think about geothermal in the context of the temperature we want to recover, or drill to, or harness from heat beneath our feet. there's low-hanging fruit out there.
Sure,
today.
sure. Yeah.
Everything that we need, the equipment, the people, to go and drill geothermal, whether it's EGS or sorry, I should be using closed loop, open loop. That's
There
what
you go. Yeah.
most people will better
Fair.
understand.
Yeah.
We can go to 230 degrees Celsius, roughly 450 degrees Fahrenheit, all day
All day long.
every
Yeah.
day. Now, to get there, we had to develop a few things,
Yeah.
and that's where you and I built our
Yeah.
our relationship.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really that difficult because the company you work for and the people here in Alberta, we already had the experience working at the very high temperatures in
Correct.
our oil sands.
Yep.
We've been working at temperatures beyond 230 degrees Celsius for
A
30
long time.
30
Yeah.
years,
Yeah,
30 years
exactly
at
right.
least, right? And then we've been doing the high pressure, hydrocarbon developments, shales, as most people call them now, where we developed the high temperature equipment needed to work on those
Mhm.
types of wells. All we had to do for EGS was really blend the two,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. I mean, I don't want to say it was easy,
No.
because I wasn't a design engineer at Stream-Flo when I said, "Oh, by the way, I need this."
Yeah.
But I knew that we were already really close. It
Yeah.
was just a
But-
matter of tweaking some.
we had the components to put together, but so on. I mean, you've worked on a lot of projects, right? And so, like, what do you think was the most challenging part in design or whatever to get us to where we are today? Because to where we are,
in the
like a
geothermal
validated,
space?
yeah. And it's a little flyer out of left base there, but like,
Yeah,
but I mean,
no,
you've done so many things.
I guess part of the reason that the team that I worked with was successful was I brought to the table um, uh, uh, kind of an engineering approach in learning how we can control the subsurface temperatures within the well to use fairly standard temperature rated equipment for the well construction and completion process. I'm going to have to say, actually, one of the biggest challenges was the well heads and
Yeah.
the Christmas trees.
Here we are.
You know, oil and gas, the equipment required for those types of well designs has been well established a lot longer than you and I
Yeah,
have been around.
Exactly.
That was nothing new, but the sizes that what differentiates
Yeah.
geothermal from oil and gas is fundamentally the size of the well, the size of the wellheads, the size of the valves. Nobody had ever worked at at those pressures, those temperatures,
Yeah.
in those sizes.
Yeah. It's a perfect storm of like challenging, fringy stuff.
Yeah, I guess one of the challenges for me, and even within the team that I worked with, was I was the one putting together the designs. I did all the initial designs and how the casing, the wellheads, and it was like
I remember.
I was being compared to the conventional geothermal industry, and I was taking a very different approach
Mhm.
than conventional geothermal industry, and people didn't understand that because of the high pressure nature of the work in open loop geothermal and the size of it, the types of interventions that we would be conducting would be very different than
Very
that
different.
of the conventional geothermal industry. So the equipment that conventional geothermal had been using was
Not gonna work.
was not going to work. It was
Yeah.
not applicable to
Yeah.
what we were trying to accomplish. And I guess a little deeper into that, yeah, I mean a casing head, a big casing head. We've been running big casing heads all over the world
Sure.
for a long time. I guess probably the most challenging aspect in terms of wellhead design supply, and something we didn't understand, even myself didn't understand in the early stages of this geothermal development, was we would be dealing with sustained pressure on the well. After we're done drilling and stimulating the well, we're going to be dealing with live wells. We're never going to be dealing with a dead well. Like in oil and gas,
it's coming.
You kill the well, you're dealing with a dead well. Well, it turns out that's not how it works.
It's not a thing.
No. And to be honest, like I said, I didn't see that coming either. And so it wasn't even just as much about the specifics of the equipment, but learning how to use this equipment and quite specifically the wellhead barriers. Understanding how we could safely and efficiently transition from kind of one aspect of the well construction process to the next. From drilling to toe prep to stimulation to drilling out the plugs.
The nascent stages of everything, just trying to be like, okay.
So putting the well on production.
Because everything's a surprise at that point, right? In the early days.
It was for kind of about the first 2 months, and then it was, oh, okay. But how are we going to pull this off? I guess I was kind of a multidisciplinary link trying to, realize what the different groups within a developer or an operator, each group needs something different out of the well. Out of the casing, out of the wellhead. And so, learning how to, and again, safely transitioning to the continuous evolvement of the well construction process.
So having also knowledge and experience of the different types, I mean, do you think EGS is going to be the future? Do you think it's going to be more closed loop? Do you think it depends on where it's going to be? Or do you think it's an all boats rise and we see what happens? I mean, or do you think they're all going to find their own off-takers, right? Like some are going to be more geared towards like data center and some are going to be more geared towards direct energy, or what do you think?
So I'll say that it depends on the geology. It depends on the geographic locations, the intent to use the energy. I've been saying for years, even before EGS, that why are we not doing more grid heating, utilizing existing oil and gas well infrastructure to do grid heating? Particularly here in Alberta or anywhere where, well, in more northern regions. Why are we not using hot water from existing oil and gas wells to heat buildings, heat airports, heat warehouses? Why are we not doing that?
I couldn't tell you.
And the answer is neither of us know. Right. I'm just going to say it's ignorance of lack of communication between oil and gas and everybody else, essentially. But so back to your initial question, is it going to be open loop? Is it going to be closed loop? I have some strong opinions about that. But I guess if you're looking for high energy output, and if you have the right geology in the right geographic locations, I think EGS, enhanced geothermal open loop, is going to be the preferred method. It all boils down to the area of the heat exchanger. How much contact with the rock do you have within your well bore to extract that heat or energy out of the rock and bring it to surface? That's my view. But don't get me wrong, closed loop advanced geothermal, EGS.
Right.
Yeah, definitely is going to have a place in terms of grid heating.
Or it might be markets too. Like, let's take a market like California, right? California is doing a job of like, we're buying geothermal energy from other states because we refuse to frack. Right. And so maybe closed loop, if you don't need fracking, you don't have water issues, that becomes a thing for those guys.
And the same thing applies in Europe.
There's almost
every European country has a moratorium on well, we're not supposed to use the term fracking, hydraulic stimulation.
Stimulation, thank you. Yeah.
Stimulation.
Forgive me.
Shame on you.
Shame on me.
Don't use them dirty words.
That's right. That's right. We've progressed.
We've progressed.
But I mean, it's a realistic situation. We're like, how can they tap into this geothermal burgeoning space, but without violating what they've got in place or workarounds or whatever?
So the answer is we need to develop every type of geothermal resource that we can, based on geology, geographics, and policy, government policy.
Well said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And right now, I mean, that's the boon that we've seen from a lot of people too that have been here on the show this week and in talking to them around the show is like, the wins are at the back right now, right? Like
They are.
the financial wins. I mean, there's been some good movement in the space lately, and take advantage of that. Politically, at least in the U.S., it's the only bipartisan energy source, right? So take advantage of that,
right?
And
let's go
extrapolate this across the world
that
right?
everybody kind of agrees on.
Yes.
Because we're at with the climate change philosophies and policies. I mean, it seems like, no, it doesn't seem like it is. Geothermal is the only current energy that checks all the boxes.
Yeah. Because at least in the U.S., on the left, you've got wind, you've got solar. On the right, you've got oil and gas. They're all able to agree on geothermal.
Right.
As it stands right now.
One thing I think most everybody agrees on is that we need base load power.
Yes,
we're
100%.
We're so overloaded on intermittent power, the wind and the solar. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing wind and solar. We need that.
They have their place.
They have their place.
Use what you have, right? Use what you have.
Right.
That's it.
Play the cards you're dealt.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
That's what we can do.
But I think geothermal, open loop, closed loop is going to fill some of those missing gaps in some of the more remote places in the world. I mean, at the end of the day, we can move a drilling rig anywhere.
Yeah. So where do you think the next spot outside of the U.S., let's say outside of North America, is going to pop off for geothermal? Where do you think that is, where it's really going to make the most impact next?
Well, I think the Europeans will be the ones to invest the most.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily the greatest opportunity.
Right.
Africa, I think is
Kenya, we had him on earlier, like 40% of their energy is already geothermal.
Right.
But old school geothermal.
Right. But, it's fairly isolated right now because they've only been using conventional geothermal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's isolated to Ethiopia, to
Kenya.
Yeah. Well, what about the guys on the other side of Africa?
Yeah.
Let's share the resources. So this is where EGS and open loop and closed loop is gonna
fill the gap. Yeah.
Fill that gap. South America.
Indonesia's big, Iceland's big. Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, they're on the Ring of Fire and they've had their conventional geothermal. But even in the Japans, the Indonesias, they've already just about tapped out their conventional geothermal resources.
Yeah, we were conversing with some Japanese gentlemen today, and they're like, a lot of ours is up in the mountains.
Yes.
And so he's like, but maybe we wind up putting data centers up there, and then it's not a security issue either, because who's going to go all the way to the mountains to go tap into a data center?
Yeah, but I mean, I agree.
That's a whole separate
but now
avenue.
Now you're going to be trying to convince the environmentalists.
That's the other challenge,
that
right?
Putting a data center on the side of a mountain in a national park
and the amount
is a
of
good
trees
idea.
that you have to cut down together, because then we've got this balance, right? And we talked about this with some of the pipelines. Like one of my colleagues and I were talking about, like some of the pipelines in Canada. Like, okay, we've got to cut down so many trees to put this through. Or in Japan, if you've got, we have to cut down trees to get to this geothermal source in the forest. Yeah, is that going to fly? Yeah,
not at this point.
No, exactly.
The narrative is going to change.
Yeah,
the narrative is always changing.
Where do you think the space will be in 5-10 years? Given that, like, look how much it's pivoted in the last 5 years. Right? Because that's the funny thing about this conference. It's usually every 5 years, so they're making it in 3 in Nairobi next time. But like, is that even fast enough? Given how
how many more geothermal startups are there going to be between now and the next Congress?
I mean,
I'm going to throw out 100,
yeah.
maybe more, maybe
Yeah.
200.
Well, your
I
tier
don't
ones
know.
are getting into it too, right?
Sorry?
Your tier ones are tucking into it now too. Yeah.
That's what's really going to change
Yes.
this landscape.
Exactly right.
Up to this point, oil and gas guys have been kind of standing back and, you know,
But they always do that with a new thing,
sure.
right?
Well, let's face it, there's more money in oil and gas.
Sure.
But everybody's starting to realize oil and gas isn't here forever.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things I'm excited about is I mean, obviously I don't have much time left in the industry. I'm old, dude.
Yeah, age is a number, man. It's up here, dude. Come on.
I guess I'm kind of passionate about developing an industry for a workforce that I came from, a workforce that I'm very proud of. Oil and gas people, industry have accomplished some amazing things.
Yeah.
Things that are undercredited. You know,
I mean, when you tell people outside of space, like, so we drill a small hole, we go down X miles and across X miles and find a 4-foot pocket of stuff. And we're doing this remotely drilling from 3 countries away. It's unreal.
Or under 12,000 feet of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and people don't understand the risk, the science that goes into this.
Right.
And we're getting really good, but there's still a lot of risk in drilling wells.
Absolutely. 100%.
Drilling wells is a risky business.
I mean, you can mitigate, but it's not going to ever go away.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're getting better at reducing the risk.
Sure.
But geology's geology.
Yeah.
We can't see there. So sometimes we get there and it's a surprise. And you know, and that's, I guess that's, while my time in geothermal is at times been extraordinarily frustrating, it's been enlightening in that, you know, you plan something, you do the engineering, and then you get out there and you execute, and it's like, huh, did not expect
Didn't see that one coming.
Did not see that one coming. Huh.
Yeah, that's always going to be there. Yeah.
But, you know, I think at the temperatures of that 230 Celsius, 450 F, what I call the low-hanging fruit, I think we've, you know, we got a pretty good understanding of what we're dealing with. There's not too many surprises left in that space.
Right. But it's taken some work to get there.
Oh, it's taken a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of kind of sleepless nights to get there for sure. A lot of calls coming from the rig.
A lot of calls. Yeah.
3 in the morning. Like,
yeah.
So what happened? What do you think about that? Well, I don't know what to think because I didn't expect that to happen.
But look at oil and gas drilling. That was the beginning of that too, right? And still happens a little bit. So it's like anything with these risky parts where you don't control the entire narrative of the operation, it's going to happen.
Anytime you're working in the subsurface, you better expect surprises. Now, but I guess one of the things I'm excited about is for example, quays.
Yeah.
Back to the laser beams.
Yeah.
Right? All I wanted was sharks with laser beams on their heads.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's some super crazy stuff, right?
It is, and that is without a doubt going to unlock resources beyond what we're doing today.
Yeah. And the cool thing I think about them too, if I may interject, is like, you know, when I was out at their demo spot in Marble Falls back in Q4, you know, you've got people coming up already saying, because their footprint is so small.
Yep.
Right. Like, can you just drop a setup? Like, I've got a place in Bahrain, or I've got a place on a ranch in California, because that's the other thing about them. Like, they have a very compact, relatively speaking,
a
setup.
Small footprint. Yeah.
To go in and go down.
Yes.
And then make some magic happen.
So there's no question we're going to drill deeper wells. We're going to drill hotter wells, and we're going to do it better. And we're going to do it faster with laser beams
or whatever. Yeah.
Better bits and whatever. I guess the part that I'm a bit skeptical about, in a lot of my background relates to well integrity.
Mm-hmm.
The conventional geothermal industry does not have a very good history in terms of well integrity. we got to be careful we don't tarnish our image.
Okay.
You know, whether it's leaks in wells or well control events. You know,
Keep it clean. Yeah.
keep,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
keep it clean, and so there's no question that we'll be able to drill faster, deeper with laser beams. I'm a bit skeptical about some of the strategies to ensure that we have the long-term well integrity that we can produce the wells. And
Mhm.
I see that being one of the downsides of closed loop geothermal. Anytime you're designing and developing wells where they will operate in what we call an open hole environment,
Yes.
raises concern for me.
Yeah. That's fair.
Um, uh, you know, I was involved in some of the very early horizontal open hole completions, and it works in some places where you have the right geology. It's not too many places we have the right
Right.
geology that we can say that yes, we will maintain the appropriate level of well integrity, open hole well integrity for the life of the
Like you
well.
said, below subsurface, it's anybody's game and mostly Mother Nature. So,
But we got to start somewhere.
yes.
We got to start somewhere. So, but I see that probably as being one of our bigger limiters is how do we how do we ensure that these wells are going to stay open, intact, integral for the life of the asset?
Mhm.
And you know, I've actually just made a submission to our regulator here in Alberta to start thinking about open loop well integrity monitoring practices and strategies. So
Mhm.
while the Alberta regulator has what I believe is probably the best policies and regulations in the world in terms of ensuring that our wells maintain pressure integrity, protecting the environment, protecting the stakeholders. This is very important to me,
Yeah.
and I think it should be to everybody. So I've already just 2 weeks ago kind of initiated the discussion of we need to start thinking
Some guardrails.
about
Yeah.
what. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We need to understand where the
Standards.
guardrails are,
Yeah.
the standards,
Yeah.
and but the government doesn't have the experience. So, you know, I'm hoping we can have
Could
good,
you start
maybe
with like a
better
committee that then
collaboration,
informs? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
collaboration
Public, private, and from,
with
yeah.
government.
Yeah.
We got to have. It's imperative at this point in EGS that we have collaboration between policymakers and industry, um, to ensure, because there's always renegades out there,
Of course. Of course.
and we got to make sure we have controls on that.
Yeah.
There's always somebody out there that you know, uh, they just want to get it done at the cheapest
They're
cost possible.
absolutely, they're going to do that. Yeah.
We have no room for that.
Yeah.
The you know, the sensitivity of environment, HSE, health, safety, and environment. We got to have some controls on this, and so I'm working with the local government to try and strengthen and expand our policies to ensure that um, the stakeholders are protected despite the outcomes of and successes as we employ geothermal, different types of geothermal in different places.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that, you know, here in Alberta, our government, largely working with the industry, has done an amazing job building policy framework that covers all aspects of oil and gas
Right.
development. I think they've done a tremendous job. But we are moving into a new energy recovery space, geothermal. It's a bit unique compared to oil and gas, and we just need to make sure that what we're doing, while it's important to recover clean energy, we
You
need
got
to
to do it
do
right.
so in a responsible
Yeah.
manner.
Yeah.
Yes.
For more than just outside of the space and tarnishing, but for everybody.
Yes.
So another thing, because you've seen so many instances, like, and there are tier ones getting into the space, but for these cats that are just kind of starting up their geothermal startups, what guidance can you give them, whether it's operational, whether it's interpersonal, whether it's, when they're starting up a new geothermal startup and maybe they're in stealth or maybe they've just come out, like what Yoda knowledge can you give them to make sure that or try and help them make sure they're successful?
Well, just like oil and gas, at the forefront of your well design, your well barrier. You got to maintain a dual barrier status and
Fair.
dual barrier status in the well. And as you know, the work that you and I have done together, that's been a challenge.
It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
It was a lot of pain to get to where we got to.
Yeah. But that's the experimentation with setting it out, the forefathers, so that everybody else can follow. And
well, exactly. And a smart man learns by his mistakes. A wise man learns by somebody else's.
Yes.
So hopefully there's others out there that can learn by the mistakes you and I made.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
Fortunately, I think we were pretty smart in our approach and our mistakes.
There have been no catastrophes.
There's been no catastrophes. There's a few things we both, I'm sure, agree that wish we could have had a second chance at that one, but
it's called iterations, Mark.
we can only build on our experience. I'm hoping though that others can build on the experience that people like you and I have already gained.
Yeah. And so what do you see for you coming up in the future? I mean, what do you think you've got going on?
Wow.
TBD.
It's hard to imagine. I just there's so much opportunity. We're going to do geothermal in Alberta. I mean, we did the first closed loop experiment wells were drilled here in Alberta by an Alberta company. And then they took off to Europe to further develop it. So
there's a lot of things happening.
Oh my goodness. It's
because like you mentioned, you mentioned the Department of Defense trying to drill up in the top of the world. And then, in the States, we've got, they're trying to put geothermal wells on Air Force bases, so you've got that security. You've got people trying to do it directly. Like in Colorado, we've got them drilling more direct heat. And so, I think it's a sit back and watch, I guess, and see, but also participate. But
I guess, the Western U.S. is geologically blessed.
Yeah.
They hit high temperatures at shallow depths.
Yes.
Not too many places in the world that have that geological benefit. So I would like to be a part of further developing our well construction practices to deploy geothermal at greater depths, making it more practical in so many other regions of the world. Because not everybody has the Kenya resources, the U.S. rocky
geothermal czar. I'm just spitballing, man.
Yeah, no,
I mean, we got some Canadian people over here. Maybe I don't know.
Well, again, don't get me wrong. They have the experience and the technologies, the capabilities in the U.S. I think here in Alberta, we're a little bit more entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
The big guys are going to move in and they're going to take over EGS.
Yeah.
The Chevrons, the Shells, the Oxys.
It's happening.
Yeah. They'll be the ones to really commercialize it, but they're not going to be the ones to commercialize it in places that are really going to change how people get to live.
Yeah. No, that's not their business model.
That's not their business model.
But there's plenty of companies that are more boutique that will do that.
And those are the ones I want to be with.
Yeah.
I want to
changing the game.
Yeah. I want to see people in, I don't know, whether it's the Sahara, the tip of Argentina, the Canadian Arctic
Yes.
have access to clean, reliable energy.
I love it, man.
Yeah, it's just I'm not in the game anymore to see profitability of of
Quality of life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm
I love
here for a
that.
different reason now
Yeah.
than what I do today. I do for a different reason than I did 20 years ago
Yeah.
in developing oil and gas. I do truly believe that we can bring reliable, sustainable energy to people in the world who
Had some struggles.
have had some struggles, have
Yeah.
been impoverished
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
lack of energy. Yeah,
I love it, man. I'm
Yeah.
going to leave it right there. I like that.
really
That's
good.
a good finish point.
Yeah.
Mark Woitt, thank you so much for coming on
Well,
the
thanks, Jason.
Stream-Flo of Consciousness
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Always great to see you.
Thank
And I
you
look
for
forward to see what you've got going on next.
yeah.
man.
Well, thank you for inviting me. A pleasure
Absolutely.
to be here. So
Yeah. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
I will. I
Yeah.
hope you do as well.
I will do. Thank you. And we'll see
Very
you
good.
next time.